Welcome to the Release Show. I'm your host, Brittany. On today's show, we have Runyaro Brilliant. She is an entrepreneur, author, and a fashion designer. Let's welcome Runyaro. Hey, girl.
Hello.
How
How are
are
you?
you? I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on. I feel
Thank,
honored.
thank you so much for coming.
Thank
When you
you.
were a little girl, did you ever dream of being a singer, author, or entrepreneur?
Well, I will say that I've always knew that I would be a singer. I always knew that I would be an entrepreneur, but I never knew that I would be an author. Um, I always wrote poems. I always, wrote a lot of things of what I felt and I put it in the paper. I always always has sung
Mhm.
because my mother, she's always been a minister, director of minister music in churches. So even in her belly, I
Mhm.
experienced music.
Okay.
So at some point, I always knew that I was going to be into music. Yes, when I was a little girl, for sure. And I always used to play with cash registers so when Christmas come, my parents would always give me fake money. I always like Monopoly, and I always win. I always had my property together. So just my mentality alone was very entrepreneur, for sure. Yes.
Well, that's great to know. So, what got you into writing? Like, what made you want to write?
Well, what really kind of really got me into writing, honestly, is just the things I experienced. Now,
Okay.
at a younger age, of course, some things I didn't experience, which was for rated R wise. So, what I would do, I would see other people experiences, um, or even looking back at people that was older than me, if it was in a relationship wise, because I was always very mature for my age. I had a very old soul still to this day. So, I've always seen other people's life experiences, and I just piggybacked for that. Like I would just write things of how I felt and how I would do things. And then once I got older, it became the reality. So my songs would be things that I went through.
Okay.
So
So you were inspired. You were inspired by other people's life stories and yours as well.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, at what point in your life did you really feel like you would explore the world as a singer? Like, what happened in your life, or when did you feel like, oh, I really want to be a singer? Or when did you feel like you could actually sing?
I think at that point is when I got out of high school. When I was in
Okay.
high school, I always would sing in church. They always would call me for solos, and it was just automatically. But once I got out of high school, it just became more like, okay, this is what I want to pursue, and it became more of a profession of wanting to make money. Because at the end of the
Okay.
day, which I know we'll get into my brand, it's the reason why I called it Musicnaire because it was self-made Musicnaire, and then I kind of branched into the Musicnaire because I wanted people to know that of me doing my music is not about the money. This is something that
Okay.
has always been planted in me since I was little. But once I got out of high school, I felt like, why not be able to make money doing this? Why not be signed to companies? Why not do this if I can, branch my talent out? So I believe once I got out of high school is when I really started pursuing the music career.
So, what are the most challenging issues you've had to face when struggling to get recognition for your music?
It was a lot of challenges. I had to go through men trying to sleep with me on a
Mm.
regular, and I had to stand my ground at all times because in that industry, especially then, it was man. It was like that was the strong part of I feel like anybody you come across is male. It was always males. The producers was male, the
Yes.
record company executive was male. So I really had to really grow up. Like that's why I'm so mature because I really had to stand my ground when things come to me or when I face challenges like that. I feel like that was one of my main challenges is dealing with males trying to talk to me, not taking me serious because they feel like, oh, okay, she got a cute face, nice shape, so she'll be able to
Mhm.
do this to get this deal and that. But then when I start talking, they're like, wait a minute, like I'm talking to my grandmother. Wait, hold up. So that I faced that a lot. I had to really earn my respect at some point.
So, what were your parents' and family's reaction to your wanting to venture into music?
It was just by nature. It was natural. Like, my mother, she's always been. She got had a 4-year scholarship going to Mississippi Valley State because of her vocals. And then she danced also in the band. So she's always been into art. So when I went into music, I mean, the support system was not only just regular, it was just full force. My father, he was very supportive as well. So, I mean, I never really had a problem far as, you know, my parents or anybody around me that was in my circle, far as the support system, because they already knew what I had, and it was just birthing to the point that they knew what was going to come about it, because they knew what was in me in the beginning, and they knew that I loved doing it, not because they wanted to push me. They wasn't the parents, like the pageant parents, to push me. Oh no, we're going to push our daughter, because that's not what we did. No, they knew that this is something I wanted to do.
And that is great, because when you push a child to do something they do not want to do, that is not their dream, that is your dream. Absolutely. So that is so great that you actually wanted to be a singer and you had that support. So that's great. What plans do you have for the future in regards to your music career?
You said what again? I'm sorry.
What future plans do you have for your music career?
My future plans now is that whatever happens, it happens. What God has for me, that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Now, if you would have asked me that question 10 years ago, I would have been like, okay, I want to be signed to this label, that label. But the industry changed per second now. It's not like how back then, like you're signed to a company, you're signed to this, you're signed to that. It's kind of like, you know, you can get discovered on YouTube, you can get discovered social media wise, just as long as you have the talent. So I'm at the point right now in my life that I still have that love and passion for music, but if God willing for me to be out there as a singer, great. But if it's not his will, then I'm fine with that too, because within my brand, that alone is like the best for me, because it consists of my music and I like helping others as well. Like I know that I have a purpose here, and it don't have to be of me being a famous singer. It could just be of me helping others or other people that want to be in the industry, just to let them know like it's okay, or just to even give them some pointers to not experience the things that I've experienced, and I'll be okay with that.
That is very powerful. That is very, very powerful. So far, you have published 2 books. What inspired you to become an author?
Well, what inspired me to become an author? Okay, well, I would say I just one day up just said, okay, my first book, if Chanel can do it, you can, I can, we all can. When I wrote that book in like a week. So, believe it or not, that was just something that I just up and wrote. Like I didn't plan it. I didn't plan like years ago, like a couple months, I wouldn't have known that I was going to write that book. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I'm not going to sit up here and just say, oh yeah, I'm this author, I planned this 5 years ago. No, I didn't. It was just something that came to me, and I wanted the world to know my testimony, because I feel like God has made a purpose for me to be here to let others learn from my journey. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So, you know, my book is mainly like my memoir, and it's my testimony, and it's for it to help others. And I wanted people to know, like, just because you see the happy smile and you see everything that looks very nice and glam, and that's cool. I'm happy now, but I want people to know what I've been through to get to this point. I'm not what I've been through. I don't look like what I've been through.
That is so true.
So that's the purpose of that book that I wrote and why I wrote it.
I actually wrote a book too, but mine was more like therapy. So I was going through some things, and I decided to use that to help me heal. So I think a lot of times we write our testimonies for us to heal, for other people to heal too. Because when someone hears your story, you don't know how it will inspire them. So I did start reading a little bit of your book, because I got it today. So guys, please go on Amazon and purchase Runyaro's book. It is going to be great. I can already tell by the couple of pages that I was able to read. So if you don't mind, kind of elaborate and tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, the book is basically talking about pretty much from me being a baby all up until now. So I wanted to let the world know who is Runyaro, like, you know, who is my family, where I came from, you know. It mentions a lot of things that is personal, a lot of secrets that I've had. I don't want to say secrets, but I never told even, you know, my father. I never told people that was close to me. and I addressed it in the book. Like there were some things that my father was like, I didn't know you was going through that, you know, because I had a father in the household. Like my father was there, you know what I'm saying? But I've experienced, you know, in a particular relationship, certain things like mental abuse and other things. So, you know, I brought that forth in the book, you know, and, you know, I don't want to spoil everything, but it's a lot of things like even more, I don't want to say juicy, but just more things that I just became very transparent in that book when it came to my life, what I've experienced in my childhood, and even through the music industry. And then I also started going about my business ventures, telling people how how I got into the business industry, as far as like when I did hair, when I was, I did a lot of things because I try to put myself into anything that I can make some money.
Don't
These hands has been making everything, okay? I would be naming like 50 things of what I did, but I pretty much brought a lot of, you know, main business that I became successful in, and I put that into the book. And then, of course, I kind of like, I don't want to say the conclusion, but, you know, I started talking about my business, which is what I'm doing now, the Musicnaire brand, and how I created it. And I wanted people, I also kind of show a lot of things like to show people how they can create their business as well. You know, how they can create if they have a brand. So I kind of wanted people to know about me, but I also wanted to teach them as well if they wanted to be an entrepreneur or create a brand.
That's great. So share with us your most important message in your book, Girl, There's Nothing Wrong with You.
Yes, Girl, There's Nothing Wrong with You was the second book that I wrote. I wrote that book because I wanted to have a conversation with all of my women, you know, and I wanted to be on a girlfriend type level, like a friend type level. And that's how I wanted to present that book, because I wanted people to be, I wanted ladies and queens, which I would say, I wanted all queens to feel transparent. I didn't want them to feel like, you know, that they're being judged by anything they do. So I pretty much kind of like talk about, you know, even if you got a divorce, it's okay. You know, and I was explaining to why it's okay. You know, even if you don't have children, it's okay. Because you don't know a woman's situation. Maybe they can't have kids. Maybe they don't want children. You know, maybe it could be any situation. But I pretty much point a lot of things that we as queens have been through or could be going through now. And I wanted them to know that it's okay. Like, girl, there is nothing wrong with you. And that's the reason why I wrote that book.
So who is your biggest inspiration and why?
My biggest inspiration in life is my parents. I would say my parents. I don't want to take that away from them. You know, my mother, she's always been there for me. It was nothing I never had. She's always been supportive, 500 to the 1,000. Like, she's practically, you know, my best friend. I could depend on her for anything. My father, because he taught me like the hustle mode, like the grind mode, to never stop, to never be disrespected by anybody, be straightforward, make sure that when you shaking somebody's hand, it's firm. Like, he's taught me pretty much the fundamentals of the respect level, to be, you know, to earn my respect and to treat others with respect. I've always been taught to say hello when I walk in a room. I've been a little girl saying, hello, how are you? You know, I just always had that mannerism, and I thank them for that. So they always been my biggest inspiration in pretty much in everything that I do. So.
Okay, so now let's talk about fashion. The Musicnaire cassette handbags are a unique idea. Can you share with us where you got the inspiration to create the cassette bags?
Yes, my inspiration from my handbags is my music. That's number one. I wanted to create something on the lines of being able to wear it, you know, without being corny about it, you know, without looking corny and sounding corny. So, you know, before I created my handbags, you know, in my mind, I was like, dang, I should create some cassette tapes, because, you know, that was back in my time, you know, like, you know, I remember with the cassette tapes, I tell people I'm an 80s baby. So, you know, and again, I have an old soul anyway. So, I mean, you would think I was born in the 50s, but, you know, I just always liked the cassette tapes because you never had to skip it. Like, all the albums back then was all, you know, just straight up, just the bomb. So I said, why not make something that people that I can wear? for people to see and they can identify themselves and what they've been through. So it sounded corny when I came up with it, but then when I started putting it together and I went to New York with it, everybody was just like going crazy over it. And I didn't even have lining in the bag. It was just pretty much a prototype. So that really got me started.
They are so unique. Please show the world your cassette bag. She actually has one right now. Please. They are so unique.
Fanny pack.
One of a kind. I love it.
Thank you. This is my fanny pack.
I need one, by the way. I need one.
Well, let me know. I got you. I custom make them from scratch.
Okay.
So they're in the process of getting manufactured now, but I do have, certain clients that I'm willing to custom make them, but I'm kind of retired of doing that.
I totally understand. I would definitely love one of those bags, though.
Thank you.
What are the most challenging things you had to endure when trying to get the bags to the public?
The challenging things is the marketing, but making people accept it, and sometimes you have to not be in that frame of mind to make people accept things, because if you do that, then you might fail, because everybody's not going to accept what you do. So you have to own what you do. And the challenging part of that, if you don't have the confidence in your product, it's going to be very challenging for you, because there's going to be people that do not like your stuff and probably don't even like you and don't even know you. So you have to have very tough skin in this industry, period, and I kind of have tough skin by being in the music industry, but that has been a challenge of starting it because, my marketing. I had to go out there, I started with 10 t-shirts, with my brand on there. So, but I got people attention. You know why? Because I was just bam, bam on social media, bam. I didn't care whether it was getting on people's nerves, because me doing that made people see, got to celebrities. So, you just keep pushing your stuff. Keep pushing it.
Yeah, you definitely have to. As a fashion designer myself, you definitely have to keep pushing yourself. Your pieces can be very unique. A lot of your family and friends won't even support you. They'll think it's overpriced and all of the things, but they don't understand what goes behind creating that design and being unique and coming up with creativity. Creativity costs. It costs money. And so people don't know the process. So when they look at you, they're thinking, oh my gosh, why is your garment so much? But then you're looking at all these other brands and you're okay with it. You see what I'm saying? It's the difference, but we all go through the same thing, whereas a high-end brand or it's my brand. So there's a lot of challenges being a fashion designer in this, and being in the fashion industry, period. It's I actually took this year off to kind of like rebrand, because I just felt like I was doing so many shows, but there was like no revenue coming in from the shows. Everybody's like, oh, I love your designs. Everybody want to wear them for free, or they want to do this, but nobody's actually supporting the brand. And they loved it, they love the designs and things, but nobody's actually supporting it. And so I decided to take some time off this year and focus on other things. And then next year I want to come out with a new brand. With a rebrand for Britash. It's called Britash by Brie. But yeah, so I definitely understand the struggles of being in the industry, especially fashion.
Yes.
What advice would you give women who want to start a business but are too scared to take the first steps?
The advice I would give to them is to pretty much tell them that own what you do. Never let anybody, especially it could be your own family, it could even be somebody living in your house, not supporting you. The only validation that you need is from God and from the talent that you have. So the advice I would give them is tell them to put God first, because if they put God first, then everything is going to come into place. Everything is going to come into place. Pray and ask God, give me a vision. What's my purpose? Because, and I'm not trying to go religious, I'm going to go spiritual. No. I'm very spiritual. But when I started my brand, I had a salon of me doing hair. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Because the building got demolished, and I started looking for another salon place. But, I started talking to God, and he gave me the vision of this brand that I came up with. It didn't happen overnight, because I've had it for years. But if you stay consistent, I will say that I've been elevated. you know, and everybody has a season for everything.
Yes.
So I want to tell all my queens and ladies out there, don't think that something gonna happen overnight. You know, and if it do, great. I wish mine did happen overnight, but a lot of times we got to work hard for it, because I promise you, in the end, it's gonna be worth it. Your journey will be worth it. So I tell you, be patient.
Yes,
that's the key. You got to be patient.
Powerful words, and it's so true. Keep God first, and He will order your steps.
Absolutely.
And He will show you your purpose.
Absolutely.
You want to know your purpose? Ask Him. He will show you your purpose. Absolutely. We all have a purpose to be on this earth. Please let everyone know how they can purchase one of your handbags or your books.
Yes, my handbags right now, they're not for sale on the market, but it will be coming in a couple months soon once everything get manufactured. But again, I'm willing to take custom orders. It just depends on what kind of bag that you're interested in. And far as my book, you could get it on Amazon. You can purchase it on Amazon. You can type in my name, Runyaro, and both of my books will automatically come up. So.
Okay, great. So is there any more information you'd like to give to the world about you, your story?
Well, pretty much, I guess I want to just say, you know, anybody out there, you know, if you have a business, if you have a brand, anything or idea, you can even just have an idea. Just write it down on a paper. Write down your goals. Organize your goals. Ask God. Open up your mind. Ask Him to open up your mind. Give you the vision. Even ask Him, what is your purpose here on life? You know, what is the purpose? Because a lot of times He will reveal that to you. Well, no, He will reveal that to you. So I want to tell everybody, like, anything that you do, you got to have faith. Just because you don't see it don't mean it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have faith in everything you do, and you got to stay consistent. You can't just start something and stop. You got to stay consistent. I promise you that you will go far, and you will keep elevating. You will keep going higher, and you will get to your goal. Look at Tyler Perry. That man was homeless.
Yes.
Homeless. Okay? And he's a billionaire now. So it's in your mind. It's in your mind. You have to stay focused, and you have to stay consistent. So anybody watching, stay focused, stay consistent, keep doing it. Because I started with nothing. I started with 10 shirts. 10 shirts, okay? What, $10, $8 a piece? 10 shirts to celebrities having my stuff on, because I believed in myself. I believed in my brand. So you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't, nobody else will. So that's all I had to say.
That is so true. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will believe in you. It takes you believing that you can accomplish anything in life for people to come and support you and support your dream. So that is very powerful words, Runyaro. Thank you so much for coming to the show. I hope everyone has enjoyed your story and they've been inspired. And please follow her, purchase her books. Let's support each other. Like I said, I have one of her books. She has two. This one is If Chanel Can Do It, I Can Do It, You Can Do It, We All Can Do It. So this is her book. I got it off of Amazon, and she has another one as well. So feel free and support. Let's support each other. Let's watch her journey as she continues to do her work in music and fashion. And thank you so much for being on the show. And I hope you guys tune in on Saturday. You're welcome for the next show. Thank you guys.
Did you hear my background? I hope you didn't hear it. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? You don't hear backgrounds or anything in the background?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you good. Great. You're fine now. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Have a great night.
Bye. Thank you.